Letitia James's biggest scandal yet. I'm telling you, we've talked about a lot of things with this lady, but this is kind of massive. And I happen to know a lot about this because I've done a fair amount of reporting in the past on money laundering and money going to bad places and bad actors like Iran. And in fact, back in the day, this is going back a while, maybe 15 years ago, I was the recipient of an Emmy nomination for some of my reporting on money laundering and financing that was going to some bad actors. And guess what? It was going through New York, and it was Robert Morgenthau. Remember they made Law and Order after him? It was his office that was actually rather helpful in helping me find a lot of this documentation. I traveled down to Latin America to get some more of it. Well, you know what? They were on it. And the AG at the time in New York was on it. But in this particular case, it looks like Leticia James is anything but on it. I mean, she's on Donald Trump all the time, right? Filing lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. But God forbid she might actually do her job. And part of her job is policing any kind of fraudulent financial activity that might be going on, specifically when it comes to avoiding sanctions. In this case that is just coming out, and it's a biggie, it's a doozy, and there's no reason in the world this woman should have this job, in part because of everything she's done, but certainly because of this one. The allegations are that you've got $9.6 billion that went from China to Iran right through a London bank in New York. And the Attorney General was briefed on this multiple times. And yet the Attorney General, Leticia James, refused to do anything at all. So think about how pathetic and disgusting that is. Here's the story. I'm bringing it to you. This is the biggest scandal yet. Iran and China are, and Gateway Pundit, by the way, they are all over this. They are absolutely all over this because they know what a big deal this is. And they came out with this story, and I credit my friend Jim Hoff over there for being one of the first to report on this. It is a big freaking deal. So they're saying that basically Iran and China are trying to evade sanctions, and they're evading sanctions via notorious methods of money laundering. $9.6 billion of illegal payments being made. Can you believe that? Unbelievable stuff. Okay, the Standard Chartered Bank sanctions. The evasion case, now in court in the U.S. Second Circuit, found at least $9.6 billion of illegal payments by the bank to Iranian and Hezbollah entities. Unbelievable. And guess what? The New York Attorney General's office was briefed on this stuff twice, not once, twice. And then the Federal Reserve on top of it. They were briefed on it as well. I mean, this is unbelievable to me. She is totally, utterly incompetent. Incompetent to think that she could be told about this twice, and this is the result. Are you kidding me? Let's think about just exactly what may have gone down. Okay, you're dealing with a company called Standard Chartered Bank. It's a bank out of London. They had a history of basically sanction violations. Don't forget, these were Biden's sanctions. He said, okay, Russia, you're a bad actor. You're not doing what we want with Ukraine, so we're going to sanction you. And so what happens when you sanction them? You say, okay, well, you're not going to be able to sell your natural gas to, say, China or India or anywhere else. So China comes along and says, but wait a second, we want that natural gas. So they actually want to still buy it from Russia. But here's the problem. Because of the petrodollar, all of this stuff is priced in dollars, and it's only priced in dollars. And given that, they had to find a way to get dollars to Iran. So China wants to buy Iran's oil or natural gas. I mean, it happens with Russia too. But Iran was sanctioned. So how do they get the money to Iran? Well, they have to get really clever. And they apparently went through, allegedly, this bank. This is what is actually in court right now. 2019, SBC fined $1.1 billion by U.S. and U.K. authorities for money laundering and sanction breaches involving transactions that involved Iran. And in 2012, SBC paid $340 million to settle claims of laundering $250 billion for Iranian clients. And then we learn that Letitia, this is the lawsuit that's coming apart at the seams right now. Standard Chartered Iran transactions, subject of new whistleblower claims. And these are the court filings that we're looking at. And according to some of this, as well as Gateway Pundit, Letitia knew about it. So if Leticia James knew about it and her office was briefed on it, allegedly she got thousands of emails talking about it, then why wouldn't she have done anything? Because she does not care, right? The newly uncovered data has prompted the two whistleblowers, one of them former Standard Chartered executive, to claim the U.S. government committed a colossal fraud on the court when it asserted they failed to produce substantive evidence to help authorities' enforcement actions against the bank for violating U.S. and international sanctions. Unbelievable. I'm just so grossed out because it's a lot of money. They were sanctions. You weren't supposed to be sending money to Iran. And yet Letitia, who's supposed to be governing all this, she's too busy, right? She's too busy. She doesn't have any interest in actually doing her job because Leticia James has bigger fish to fry. She's going to go after Donald Trump and get him for $500 million, right? So she's not paying any attention to the actual stuff that really does matter in the world. That's how sick and twisted all of this is, you guys. When you have politicians that don't actually care about doing their job to protect our country and to enforce the law, in this case, sanctions, international sanctions, and she's allowing her New York banks to get used, a British bank operating in New York, then you got a real serious problem on your hand. It's all the more reason why this woman really does need to go. And she's going to go soon, I think. I mean, just look at the polls. The polls suggest it. New York doesn't want her anymore. And as this all comes out, I think she's going to be in more and more trouble. I'm not suggesting she was taking anything off the top. I would certainly hope not. I'm not suggesting anyone on her staff was doing anything like that. However, I am suggesting that they didn't have their eye on the prize because they were too focused on Trump. I mean, think about the damage that that does when you are so politically rabid that you have to go after him. You're not actually looking at the bigger picture and actually doing the things you need to do. In early 2024, according to Gateway Pundit, the New York Attorney General's office, that would be Letitia and some of her staff members, were briefed on this, but they did absolutely nothing. And they reapproved the annual license for this bank that was laundering all this money. I mean, that's wild, $9.6 billion. So Letitia does have a problem, and this could become a bigger problem for her. And I think it's the biggest one yet. I agree with Jim. Because if you knew about this and you didn't do squat about this, then it shows what a bad attorney general you really are and why you need to go. You needed to go yesterday, Letitia. But unfortunately, sadly, scarily, she is still there, and it's pretty twisted, and it's really messed up. So, you know, we actually need lawmakers, believe it or not. Sometimes they actually have to do things, and when they don't do their job, it kind of is a problem. And, you know, she's out there ignoring these sanctions, all while, you know, you got all kinds of other problems going on in the world. Meanwhile, you know, she's all about embracing whoever can come to New York City, totally in violation of federal law. It's like this woman doesn't understand the law. I mean, she's in violation of international law. She's in violation of federal law. She's allowing people to skirt sanctions, and she's allowing people to come into the country illegally, at which point, you know, Pam finally said, okay, we've had enough. We're filing charges against Leticia James, against Kathy Hochul, and also the DMV in New York. You remember this from a couple months ago.
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Leticia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind.
Yeah. Because it turns out you can't just flaunt whatever you want to do in front of the law. I mean, Letitia, I'm sorry. And yet, you know what? She's doubling down on this. It's getting weird. She went on to CNN yesterday and she had the audacity to sit there and say, like, all these things about how, you know, we need the illegals coming here and she's going to defend them no matter what. All while, you know, ICE officers are actually seeing their lives in jeopardy, but God forbid she actually cares anything about them. I want to show you this clip of Letitia James here on CNN. It's pretty bad.
Voters make a distinction, a lot of them, and the polls show it, between undocumented immigrants without criminal records, people you're talking about, and those who have them, right? Especially in these extreme cases, like we look at in this case in New York City. But to that point, in this case, why should those voters think that this is something other than the system not working? I mean, if you're talking about waiting for comprehensive immigration reform, I've been in Washington for 20 years, and they've been trying for a long time. It doesn't happen, right? So why, in the case of cities taking a step and states taking a step, is this an example where there could be that coordination instead of waiting decades for Congress to act?
At the outset, I indicated to you that, in fact, New York State and other Democratic states cooperate with ICE when it comes to criminal convictions. But when it comes to innocent individuals who serve as your nanny, who clean your home, individuals who are our neighbors, individuals who unfortunately are just trying to make ends meet.
Both of these individuals had multiple arrests after deportation orders. Why are those not opportunities?
And that is why in the state of New York, when it comes to individuals, as you indicated, individuals with criminal convictions, then we cooperate with ICE. But it's important that we make a distinction between those individuals with criminal convictions and those individuals, again, who are just trying to make ends meet each and every day. And the vast majority of individuals who are being secreted and kidnapped at night are individuals who, again, are facing civil deportation and not criminal enforcement. It's important that we make a distinction. It's important that individuals understand that individuals are being caught up in these ICE raids, innocent individuals, students, teachers, small businesses. We all want the same thing, and that is to protect individuals from harm. But unfortunately, what we are seeing is mass ICE agents without any insignia, without any identification, kidnapping innocent individuals.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Right. Like, we've already been through this. That's actually very, very wrong. I played the soundbite for you from Tom Homan just the other day saying, no, in 70% of the cases, they're people that actually have criminal records. In some cases, very violent criminal records. And in the other 30% of the cases, they're deemed to be national security risks. Don't forget, when you open the floodgates and you say, hey, 20 million people can come in over the span of 4 years, you get all kinds of people coming in, some of whom they are deemed to be actual security risks. So they have paperwork on everyone. And yet Letitia's trying to make this into something else. So again, not doing her job as Attorney General of New York, allowing for international entities to completely evade sanctions and send money, allegedly $9.6 billion to Iran, while simultaneously standing up and saying, oh, I'm going to defend my sanctuary city and state all day long, despite the fact that I am in total violation of federal law. We've talked about this. If there's one thing the federal government can do, and I'm a states' rights kind of gal, listen, the one thing that they have power over and jurisdiction over is who is in the country, period. Full stop. So Letitia, we're not saying she's the smartest lawyer around, but she's a heck of a politician. Well, maybe we can say she was a heck of a politician, because I'm telling you, this woman is not going to get voted in again. But there's a method to the madness. Don't forget that, okay? I want to show you a representative from Brooklyn, what she had to say. She kind of let it slip. She's like, wait a second. But of course we need all these people here, because how else are we going to get our redistricting done? Yeah. Now we know exactly what it's about. There's a method to their madness. Here's the tape.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
I see. I see what it's all about. I see. This is like gerrymandering on steroids. They want to make sure that they have enough people in their district because they want to be able to make sure they have enough congressional seats. So it's all about power. It's all about control. They don't care what the actual end result is for the people that are living in their district. No, they just want more people in the district. Whether they can vote or not, they just want to be able to have more representation. Therefore, you get more people from the blue districts in Congress. I see. Well, eventually, you know where they're heading with this. They actually kind of already showed their hand, did they not? When the appellate court in New York had to strike down what they were trying to get through, which was 800,000 non-citizens voting in New York elections. Yeah, that didn't happen, but they tried. They certainly tried. Unbelievable stuff, you guys, unbelievable stuff.